What's going on, guys, and welcome to episode 8 of Listen Whilst You Step. And today we have another very special guest on. We have Amanda from the Adjustment Co. I went to see Amanda about 6 weeks ago now, about 6 weeks. I had a few kind of lower back niggles, a few niggles in the neck, and it was just kind of my New Year's resolution this year was to kind of be a bit more proactive rather than reactive with kind of just my body and look after myself a bit more. I was willing to go out and spend £100 on a night out and not even think about it, but to spend some money and look after my body when technically it really is my business and my body is my marketing. I wasn't willing to spend the money. So that was my New Year's resolution, to go and look after myself better. So I went and saw Amanda, and she's helped me in wonders. And it's been super interesting to hear her take on how chiropractic can help people in terms of their performance and just everyday life and everything like that. So I thought it'd be really good to get her on and just kind of talk about this. She's also just set up a new business, which I'm sure we'll touch on again. But welcome on, Amanda. Do you just want to give everyone a little bit of an intro, kind of who you are, how you got to where you are, and what you do?
Hi, everybody. And thank you so much for asking me to come on today. It has been an absolute pleasure adjusting you and helping you with your goals and anyone that comes in. But yes, I've opened up my own practice during the lockdown, which has been pretty...
Didn't make it easy for yourself.
No, but do you know what? It's been the best decision ever. Yeah, so I graduated in 2013. So I've been working in practice for 7 years. I've actually worked in quite a few practices during my time, which is quite good because I've had a range of experiences and different styles and philosophies and all of that. And now it's come to a place where I've set my own thing in the way that I want to do it and how I believe is best for the patient. But yeah, so I was kind of like you. I know you have a background in tennis. I was a runner, mainly middle distance, so 800, 1500. My whole sort of childhood was revolved around sport. Every weekend we'd go to meets and, I was training during the week and all the rest of it.
Constantly traveling everywhere.
Yeah, we were traveling everywhere. And I knew that I wanted to do something in the future to do with sport. Whether I was going to be an athlete or helping athletes, I knew that's where I was going to be best placed.
Yeah. I was exactly the same. Like, I literally couldn't imagine my life not having sport involved in it. I don't know what I'd do, like literally.
I know. Yeah, it's everything. I think we've talked about it recently. What's happened in Merseyside and Liverpool. And this tier 3 lockdown and how they're trying to shut gyms and sort of almost stop people from exercising. And I couldn't imagine not being able to do it, because it just from your physical, your mental health, all of it, it's just very passionate.
I always say to the people around me, like, if I don't exercise or I don't train or something, you do not want to know me. I'm the grumpiest person in the world, honestly. But how did you kind of end up getting into chiropractic? Obviously, you wanted to kind of be involved in sport in some way. What swayed you towards chiropractor?
Do you know what? It's a bit of a funny one. I didn't initially know that I wanted to be a chiropractor. I thought I wanted to get into media. So I wanted to be a sports presenter. That was my, when you're doing your A-levels and picking your subjects, I went down the English route and media studies and all this sort of stuff. But then when I actually started looking into job prospects and all of that, I thought, it's a lot about who you know in that industry. And I guess you can build up doing other things, but my idols were ex-athletes who then moved into media. And I don't know, I think my parents have seen chiropractors my whole life. I had sort of gone in, dilly-dallied a bit myself as a patient. And the chiropractor, whilst he was adjusting my dad, said to me, why don't you do this? And I sort of thought, okay, maybe. So it wasn't a completely organic thing. It was something over time. So I actually ended up doing 3 years of A levels, because I switched from media and English into PE and biology and exercise related things. So at the time I felt, I don't know, I felt a bit funny because I hadn't gone through the normal route like my friends. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm like a year behind everybody because I've had to start again.
Yeah, I was exactly the same. I touched on this in the first episode as well. So I did my first year of A levels. A levels just wasn't for me. It wasn't the right call. And I went to Highlands and did a BTEC there. So I was like a year behind. That was one of the reasons that I started like Shape Up between my first and second years, because I was like, I can't be a year behind everyone. I can't do this, blah, blah, blah. It's a weird feeling, isn't it? Like I think
Definitely.
like really like a year is absolutely nothing, like especially as you get older, like but at the time it seems like such a big deal. You're like, I can't be behind. I can't be behind. No.
I know, and I know this is really silly, but I'm a November baby, so not only was like I an older one of my year, but then I'm a year behind, and I just felt, you just think that, oh my gosh, is my life slipping away? But it's absolute nonsense. The actual chiropractor who I first worked for, so I was a receptionist for him for 2 years, and then I worked for him after I graduated. He was so this was back home in Bournemouth. He started studying at the age of 40. So he was in finance and then quit his job and started then. So it's never too late.
Yeah, true. Very true. You see so many people changing careers and everything like that. I think people do something, I think they kind of fall in love with it, fall out of love with it, and they find a new passion and things like that. A lot of people seem to do it, especially kind of moving back into sports. I think sport is such a big people's life when they're so young, but then they maybe just get into another job, end up going through the motions and just kind of lose connection with like that sport and the physical side of things. And they kind of want to re-find it. And then they realize that it's such a big passion and they've been missing out on it. I think that's why a lot of people, how many people do you see it like go and work in finance, particularly in Jersey, then go and qualify as a PT when they're in their mid-20s and go, I'm going to give this a shot now. Like so many.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
There's quite a few. I think that everyone sort of toys between fulfillment in life, and you get that through helping people, if it's whether in chiropractic or PTing or nutrition or whatever, and then the other side of security and finances.
Yeah.
And you sort of, I think a lot of people sort of toy with that security.
Yeah, it's that balance. It's interesting. I'm actually going to get my business coach on, Adam, for an episode. I want to speak to him about like what is success, and he always gives a triangle, and he said you've got kind of fulfillment, you've got impact, and then you've got financials as well, because obviously we need to pay bills and everything like that. You've got impact, you want to like help people, and you've got fulfillment, you want to feel fulfilled as well. And like it's kind of if you can get all three sides of that, I think I'd like to think we've both done pretty damn well in that area, especially being self-employed as well. It's super cool. So yeah, I think we're well on the way, which is cool.
It's definitely a balance.
Yeah, for sure. But let's just touch on something like what is chiropractic? Like, what is it involved, and like what's your take on what it is?
Oh gosh.
in less than 3 hours. No, I'm joking.
Chiropractic, and I think it can mean so much depending on where your head's at the what it is that you're sort of experiencing at the time. But for me, chiropractic is just it's amazing.
Yeah. I got asked a similar question like when I went on a podcast with Ryan and Ellie Hodson. They were like, oh, what's this? I'm like, when you're so passionate about something, you almost can't get your words out about it.
Yeah.
But try to realize it. What do you do?
What do I do? So mainly, I think for people that come and meet me and come in for their initial consultation, they usually have a problem. So whether it's headaches, back pain, neck pain, tightness in their shoulders, just feeling stiff like a tin man, just something feeling off like brain fog. There's usually something going on where they know innately and inside themselves that they're not what they should be. And I think we all have that in us. Whether we're sporty or if we're into biology and health, I think we all know if something's right or not. So a lot of the time people come in with a symptom, a problem. So in that mind, I'm there to help them and get rid of their symptoms, whether it be pain, the headaches, the sleepless nights, the brain fog. So chiropractic is so amazing because it's not completely, we're not just low back pain. It can cross over to so many things. And even now, when I have patients that come in, they might come in with like shoulder pain or something, and then after a few sessions they say, oh, I don't actually experience my urinary infections anymore. I used to get it every month, or my periods that used to be all over the place are now coming every month. And just things that you, like say people with slightly bad eyesight, they say colours are brighter, or my hearing's improved, my tinnitus is reduced, my balance is better. But it's not usually what they've come in for. It's usually something else.
It's like a knock-on effect from just.
It's a knock-on effect, and from people like you know, really sporty people who may come in with, I don't know, like a shoulder problem or something, and we work on that, and then they said, you know what, I've actually got a PB. I've managed to lift more or do more reps, or my recovery's reduced, and my performance has just gone through the window. So on the other side, you've got people after performance and PBs, and just being able to get back to their sport, or even prevention. So yeah, so
it's everything. I think the amazing thing about it is you come in, you see people with a problem, but you offer solutions, and miraculous things happen with that. But then also I think you're very, very good, even though we've only done kind of 6 weeks together, showing people the kind of path out of it as well. It's not just come, let's have a session, bang, all right, I feel great. It's like, hey, you're going to feel great now. You really do set people up for success. Like, you show them the pathway of what their recovery and their maintenance is going to look like. Because I haven't been to any other chiropractors, but I've heard stories of people, they go and they have one adjustment and that's it. You don't see them again.
Yeah.
And from my point of view, even if I try and relate that back to training clients in terms of fat loss, like if you do 1 week of dieting, you're not going to get shredded.
Yeah, exactly.
It's exactly the same thing. So what kind of people do you work with? What is the majority of your kind of clientele, or is it just such a range of people?
Well, you know, it's so diverse, and it kind of really comes in, and I think this is what we've spoken about before as well with you, with your clients that come and see you. I get such a mix of ages, male, female, the different symptoms. I think if you were to look at my website and my Instagram and Facebook, my technique and style is definitely sort of tailored more towards somebody who's after a robust treatment, that's quite dynamic, quite strong. So generally speaking, I'd say that suits a younger person, or maybe mentally young, because they can sort of take it. But I mean, I've got a 94-year-old who's come and see me.
Beast.
Managed to book online, and
that's impressive in itself.
I know, yeah. So, but this lady is, even though she's 94, she's just so mentally young. So that's the sort of person that really does well with my technique and style. But I think if I was to really look at the analytics of like my database, I'm not sure actually how to do that. I think it's between 30 and 50 who perhaps works in a job, desk-based job, and started doing some triathlon or parkrun at the weekends, or have started training with you, these sorts of things, and they think, oh, actually, I just want to make myself a bit better. But yes, I get all extremes, from very serious athletes to children coming in and grannies. So yeah, and I like the diversity, and I really enjoy that. I think if you're doing the same thing all day, and I know it's not about me, but it really makes it fun and challenging, and constantly thinking about, right, what can this person do? How can I help this? Or what else can I add into their program?
Makes you better as well, because you see a wider range of things. And even though someone might have that issue, you might go, oh, that person has something like that. Does that transfer across slightly? It just makes you think really, really well. Obviously, it's nice to have such a range of clients. But I know we've spoken about, and you actually were a chiropractor on the women's PGA Tour.
Yeah.
just touch on that a little bit? Because I think it's really cool I think that's a really cool thing. And I know some of the people I spoke who know you don't actually know about this, but I think it's quite a cool thing to put out there a little bit. So do you want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah,
How was it?
so it wasn't PGA, it was the
Right.
LET, so the Ladies European Tour. And yeah, so when I graduated, I was in touch with the sort of lead therapist that was on tour, and I tried my best to get on. And
It
it
paid
was
off. You gone.
he sort of gave me a list. I went and did an observation on, I think it was the British Open, so it must have been 2013. So I wasn't hands-on at all. I was helping pass the cream and the towels and things like this. And you sort of think, done a master's degree, I've graduated, and he's still not taking me on. So he gave me this list of sort of things to achieve and do, and go and volunteer doing sports stuff at the local club and get this added qualification, and do all of this. So I went away and I kept in touch with this guy, and sort of got my head down and worked through this sheet. And just by chance, I can't remember which tournament it was, but he said, "Oh, I need some help." And I was straight there.
Let me in. My ticket's already booked.
Yeah, and then I managed to get on tour, and it's a bit like just anything with PTing and chiropractic in Jersey. Initially, I was on tour, and the way it works is the players would sign up to a session with you. And I think my first tournament, and it was proper old school. It was a sheet of paper on the door, and people just write their names down. And I think I'd have like 2 names down on the first day. And I just thought, oh my gosh, no one wants to come see me. And then the word got out, because each tournament there's about 160 players that would be there.
Wow.
So yeah, it's quite a few. So it's sort of 4 days. After the second day, they'll do a cut. So they'll find the top 60 would go through, and then they're in for the prize money and all the rest of it. The tournament would generally start on the Thursday and finish on the Sunday. So there was physios, chiros, osteos. We'd arrive on the Monday, and the players would go out on the course, get familiar with the course, wind direction, all these sorts of things. And that's when any niggles or fine tuning, they'd be sort of getting sorted then. And I think pretty much after the second or third tournament, I would be fully booked, because all of the players would talk to each other and say, "Oh, actually, that girl's, she's right."
She's okay.
Yeah, and it kind of meshed my initial dream of working in sports, and get to be with the players. And where they used to put us would either be in the changing rooms or in a performance center. There's no cameras there, there's no media, and it was a really fun hub. So there'd usually be about 3, 4, 5 therapists in there, all with benches. So the girls would come in and do their stretches and warm up in the area, and it was just a real social hub. And like, I might be talking to a physio or an osteo, and we'd all be sort of doing our bits on the players, and it's great fun.
Just being around like-minded people is so powerful, I think, honestly. I touched on it on one of the episodes before, but we talking about your inner circle, and just being part of a team like that, and just all those like-minded people. I think it's literally priceless. Like, you just can't beat it, and it's just such a cool thing to be part of, for sure. Obviously, you mentioned osteopaths there. I know I used to have this question, and I'm sure you get this question a lot. What is the difference between a chiropractor and an osteopath?
Yeah. Well, actually, on the tour, the lead therapist guy was an osteopath. Okay. But if you were to be blindfolded and go and see him and go and see me, you would not know the difference between the two of us. You'd think that we were the same profession. And I think a lot of the time it boils down to the personality of the therapist. Generally speaking, chiropractic, and this is me going sort of textbook on you, we use shorter levers when we do adjustments, and we're sort of closer to the spine. we generally manipulate joints rather than mobilize. So to simply put it, chiropractic sort of generally more robust and a stronger release, and osteopathy is a sort of more gentle, slow release. I think that both are fantastic, and depending on your personality and the way that you like your body dealt with, and also what's going on at the time, they're both fantastic professions. But you sometimes get some chiropractors who are very much
passive.
Yeah, and sort of osteo, you'd think that they're an osteopath or perhaps even a physio. And you may get osteopaths who are like chiropractors. So it really depends on the individual. And I guess it's like PTing. You can go to one PT and do weight, bodybuilding, you know, traditional style stuff, another person more into the hits. And I think
everyone's got their own style, haven't they? That's what it is.
Yeah. I think you do what you like and how you like to be treated. So I guess with you and your clients, you probably train them in a similar way to how you train your own body.
Yeah, for sure. My biggest thing for my clients is I always say that I would never make them do anything that I wouldn't do or haven't done, because I'm so passionate about my stuff, and obviously you are as well. Like I do me. If we're not a good fit, then that's absolutely fine. But I don't want to change my methods, what I'm passionate about, to fit you. Because if I start changing what I believe in, I just feel like, one, I'm either being a sellout, or two, I'm probably not going to be as good as what you want. There's probably someone out there who's better at what you want. Like, do you know what I mean?
It's the compatibility, isn't it? And I think that when you know what really works for you as an individual practitioner or therapist or PT, you know it to the nth degree. So you don't really want to compromise on that, and that's how you know what works, and you believe in it so strongly. So I definitely think there's a compatibility thing. I definitely think there's a personality thing.
Sure.
But in a short answer, chiropractic is quite robust. Osteopath is mobilized and more gentle.
My eyes, if you're pretty straight on like your methods, you're like, this is what I do, love it or hate it. If we love it, sure, we can work together. If you're not, I'm happy to recommend someone else. I think by doing that, you get a lot better buy-in from the person. Like, I'm sure if you had someone walk in with you and they go, yeah, this isn't going to work, it's probably not. If I have someone come to me and go, I'm not going to lose any weight, you're probably not going to. If you can get buy-in, and if you're true to what you believe in and kind of your methods and things like that, people will buy into that. And if people buy into it, they're much more likely to see the results. That's what I think anyway.
I totally agree. Yeah. Totally.
You attract the right kind of clientele if you're just consistent with your message and things like that.
Yeah. And I think upon meeting somebody, and even after 5 minutes, you know whether you're going to be good or not. I've only done it once in my career, where a lady has arrived and we've started the initial consultation together. And I really quickly knew that it wasn't going to work. And I just sort of said to this lady, I was like, I really hope you don't mind. I don't think that this is going to work, and I don't want to waste your time and money and not get any results. So should we just knock it on the head? So, you know, you don't have to, let's just forget about the session today.
It's the best thing to do. That's why I do a consultation before anyone signs up, basically say, this is what you want. This is what I do. Are we a good fit? I'll tell you if not, because if you're like, let's go to like a business point of view, you might feel like it's going to take a bit of a hit to start with, but trust me, that person's then going to go like, I got turned away. Like, what the hell? And they're going to talk and talk and talk and talk from that kind of point of view. But also, like we just kind of said, it keeps that buy-in, word of mouth. You want to get your clients awesome results. Do a good job. If you've got someone who you don't think you're going to do a good job with, just refer out. Just tell them, be honest. Like, people respect honesty, and just I always say, just being a good person goes a hell of a long way.
Yeah. Also, from an ethical point of view, when we graduated at chiropractic, we had to take an oath and say that everything that we do is for the best interest of the patient. So, you know, very quickly, someone might think that they need a chiropractor, and once you sort of get into it, you think, oh, actually, this is another issue. I've got another professional that will be able to help you with this. It is your responsibility. I think it's my responsibility to just be very transparent and say, do you know what? I think that you need to go and see this person first. Maybe later on you can come see me, but this is just gonna be a waste of your time and money at the moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, and actually I think that then that person might actually respect you and say, oh, actually they do care about me and want the best for me. So
Sure. On that, what kind of stuff do you find works well with, let's say someone comes in with lower back pain or shoulder pain. If someone comes to you, what do you find works well with your treatments to kind of help them get to somewhere quicker?
well, you know, it's the usual general sort of stuff. You know, when you first came in, I just treated you as a normal client, and I said, right, we'll go through this. And I like to split health into chemical, emotional, physical, and the central nervous system.
I found this super interesting when you spoke about it. So I'd never really looked at it at like that perspective, but it is so true and it all makes sense. So I'll let you
Yes. So if you've got low back pain and you're sitting at your desk all day with your feet wedged underneath your bum, and people do this, or their legs crossed all day.
I sit with my feet back underneath me. I'm terrible for it.
And then your seat right back, your telephone on your neck, you know, with your neck sort of crooked to the side, 2 screens, you don't drink any water, loads of coffee, and you're not moving and getting up and about. So, I mean, there's a very quick way to sort of help yourself. It's right, let's get the backrest up there to give you a bit of lumbar support. Let's get your feet placed firmly on the ground, knees at a 90-degree angle. Let's get some water by your desk. You know, maybe put 2 liters and sort of give yourself a target each day to drink that, which will have an effect on your discs. Your discs are 70% water. So if you're hydrated, you're going to help with your back. Also, from an inflammatory point of view, you're going to help decrease the inflammation in your body. Maybe on your phone or on the clock at work every hour, just say, right, I'm just going to do a loop around the office, or if people are working at home, just a loop around the garden or flat or whatever. Just get some movement, get your lymphatics going, blood going. And like, even though that's not specifically targeting your back pain, we're not adjusting your back or acupuncture, the massage or whatever, it's going to help because you're getting things moving, you're just changing your habits. And so yeah, so I mean, these are really basic things that I'm telling you, obviously.
Yeah, it's true though that it's not just one thing, it's the whole package. Like, I take people on, it's like, right, we need to look at your training, your nutrition, your lifestyle. It's exactly the same thing, just put in more technical terms. It's all the little 1%ers that you can do that are just going to help you get and recover and get a better result so much quicker.
Totally.
I've found that my massages with Mark have massively helped me. I know you and Mark have worked together. I'm going to get Mark on for a future episode and things like that. I think if like you can get a chiro and a massage like fairly regularly, like, I know I feel like a new man this year. Like I just don't have the niggles or anything like that. Like, my training feels freaking awesome. Whereas before I'd pick up a niggle and it would just irritate me until it got so bad, and then something would ping and I'm like, here we go. Just be proactive rather than reactive, in my opinion. Like, of course, if you've got issues, go and get them sorted, but then just don't think, oh, it's sorted, let's stop. Like, even, I know, like, you've got your whole kind of system where people come in for twice a week, once a week, do you want to talk through that?
Yeah, well, so it really depends on what's going on with the individual at the time, and age is a massive thing. And I think I've developed ways of looking at an individual that are really specific to me. So depending on how the joint feels, whether you've got a really mobile joint or a strong joint or a stiff joint, it really changes what I advise. And then also each individual person reacts in different ways. And until you get your hands on somebody, you don't quite know how they're going to sort of, what their path's going to be, but you sort of give a guideline. But yeah, I think that generally, if somebody, as sort of a rule, if someone's never experienced chiropractic before and wants to give it a go, between 8 and 12 sessions, you should have considerable change. you should feel like a different person, and that's the results I expect in that sort of length of sessions. And generally speaking, that would be spread out over 2 or 3, perhaps 4 months. And for me, that's where I really get the results, is sort of at that 8 mark. I mean, if someone hasn't experienced any change after 3, I'm slightly worried, because I expect people to start feeling it that quickly. And yeah, I think because I combine, again, depending on the individual, I combine the acupuncture as well in there. So if there is a slight niggle in the shoulder or the back, then we'll pop them in, and that generally sort of gets rid of the acute symptom, which is not really what I'm focused on. But I understand that as a client that's never experienced chiropractic, you just want to get rid of your pain. You know, that's first and foremost. Function and performance is kind of secondary. And to be honest, I get it. I get why people have that mentality. It's just, I just want to get my problem fixed, and then I can think about the other bits. And whether or not people decide to do that, I'm cool with it. It's your body, it's your life. And to be honest, if we didn't have all those different personalities, either in crisis, like sort me out now, or coming out for the long-termy stuff, I think it makes it interesting.
Big time.
I don't know if you get it. So when people say, it's my birthday next month, I need to lose half a stone.
Yeah, I need to lose half a stone in minus 3 days, please. I'm like, okay, that's going to be an interesting one. I'll try my best, but yeah, it's super interesting. You do get a lot of different personalities. You get people who can't. I get a lot of people who come to me just like open-ended, like, look, I want this goal. You tell me how to do it, and I'm like, yes, hallelujah. I think if people can come into things open-minded and just put their trust into you, you're the professional, you know what you're doing, then that's when you see the best results. Don't come in expecting a result in like 1 session. Like hopefully you will feel some benefits and everything like that, but trust the process. That's what I always say. Trust the process, and put your trust in the professional who you are investing with, essentially. The acupuncture is definitely an interesting one. My first session, we did acupuncture in the base of my skull. I was like, what is going on? This woman sticking needles into the back of my head. That was also, I'd never had it before until we did it. And it's an interesting feeling. Not painful at all. I didn't find it painful at all, but it's definitely, I got up feeling a bit, ooh.
Yeah. So you had it in your suboccipital. So, I mean, that's a pretty intense place to have it. And it's not particularly painful there, but there are other, say, if you've got any runners that come in, you know, with an Achilles that's really taut and tender, or plantar fascia, or
that makes me cringe just thinking about it. I'm moving my feet around. Oh.
That's pretty painful.
Yeah, I can imagine. We'll stay away from that one then. Yeah, well, I haven't done any running in a while, so I think my Achilles will be fine.
I'll check it out next time.
Oh God, I shouldn't have said that. I've literally just got a couple of questions to kind of finish off, which I popped off my Instagram story. One of the main ones is cracking your own back and your own neck a bad thing?
Okay, I did a post on cracking your neck the other day. So check that out on the Adjustment Co Instagram for anyone. But yeah, you shouldn't really crack your neck. Because it's a really important area of your body. You've got loads of nerves coming out of there, and a lot of the time if you are trying to crack your own neck, you're probably cracking the wrong joints and not in the right way. With your thoracic, so the mid-back area, if you've got a bit of tension and a bit of a kyphotic posture, so you know when you're a bit humped and rounded, if you've done a gym session and you've got a foam roller to the side and you extend back over and you feel a couple of cracks, it's not the end of the world. And sometimes it might be, depending on the individual, so someone who's extremely stiff and perhaps in their 50s, who've got a bit of degeneration, I would actually suggest to do that to help them get into a sort of more upright posture. But if you're 20, 25 on a foam roller 2-3 times a day and cracking your neck all the time, that's not a good place to be.
No. But
if you're in a yoga class and you're doing a spinal twist and you hear a little pop in the base and you're not pushing it, again, that's not the end of the world. It's okay. I think so many people are so worried about cracks and things. If it's really forced, it's probably not right.
Yeah, I think if it's something that just happens, kind of you move and you go, oh, but if you're there like trying to crick your neck over or something like that, that's when the issues come.
Yeah.
So like kind of lower back and things like that, I think a lot of people do get when they start doing some mobility work, they do just get some natural kind of little pops and things like that.
Yeah.
Because you're not forcing it, it's going to be all good.
Yeah, and panicking about it as well is not a healthy thing, because some people feel like a natural crack that's happened just, you know, just moving generally, and then they get so uptight about it that their muscles all tense up because they're like this about it, and it actually then becomes a problem. So try and be relaxed about it. If you hear a pop, it's probably fine. Don't force it.
Yeah, for sure. And one last one, it's not really a question, but I thought it'd be quite funny. It said, who's your favorite client and why is it Migs? I thought that he'd kill me if I didn't ask you it. So.
I don't have any favorites.
Oh, classic. But yeah, just to kind of wrap us up, just want to let everybody know where they can find you. And yeah, honestly, thank you very much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure. And guys, this will be up very, very soon. And yeah, it'd be cool. So I just want to let them know where they can find you.
Well, thank you for having me. But yes, you can find me online. So it's a completely online practice on www.theadjustmentco.je. And all sort of questions that you may have. There's a frequently asked questions section about costs and timing and what you should wear and all of these sorts of things. It's all on there. And, you know, how I work and what I can help with, it's all there. But where I'm actually physically based is at the Parade, so 31 Parade in Calumet Yoga Studios. So it's the second floor in St Helier in Jersey. And it's above Jersey Business. It's a lovely space. It's really calm and tranquil and just lush.
Yeah. You walk in there and your whole mindset goes, ah.
Yeah,
it's very chilled. It's cool. But yeah, again, thank you very much for coming on. And guys, make sure you go and give Amanda a follow. And if you do feel like you're experiencing any issues or you just want to be a bit more proactive rather than reactive about things, make sure you give her a message and go from there. See you in the next one.